Welcome to a short practice that is going to help you get organized. We're going to explore our midline, which is really a place of energy where we connect head to tail and tail to head. And understanding where your midline is really helps you organize the sides of your body. So we're going to explore something called body halves today. So let's come down to the mat. Now, normally, I would say, let's put our heels in line with our sits bones, which would give us a little bit of space. But for this practice, I want you to bring your legs completely together. So they're actually hugging along that midline. So we're getting that nice sensory information. Now, let's just take a quick brush. So brushing our midline, right? So get a little messy, let your hands come down the middle of your face. Come down the middle of your throat. So what I want you to notice is this isn't like a fine pencil line, right? This is an area all the way down to the pubic bone. And then you could keep on going. Those are your, inner thighs coming to that midline. And then let's just do that one more time. So this is a place of reference, okay? This little brush. We're going to be looking for this. That's why if we brush, it gives us a little touch, it awakens. I'm just kind of doing a kind of messy brush down my midline to the inner thighs, okay? So just from doing that, can you feel like, oh, that's where I should pay attention to? Now, we're going to take the hands up and then bring them together. And now your hands are to the midline. So we might typically, when we do an exercise like this, open everything up, and so we're already to our sides. But we're going to bring it together, so we're really traveling from that central place where your sides meet and communicate to each other. So let's go ahead and take the right arm out to the side. Now keep your eyes open. You can look at your left hand. It is staying, hugging that midline. And then bringing that arm back up, and you'll have come to your midline because your hands touch. And then let's try that on the other side. Can you notice what's happening with your body? So there's some responses happening. Let's do this one more time each side. So if we get really rigid, we're gonna maybe fall over towards that hand that's opening. So we actually have to soften into the support of the ground. So even though we have these body sides, they are supporting each other. One side might feel like it's filling as the other is emptying a little bit. Now we can go to the legs. So you are going to rotate that right leg open and keeping that midline. You have your hands to reference and then bringing that leg back. And then opening the other leg. And returning. Can you keep your midline organized as your legs open? And returning. One more to the other side. Now we're going to do the whole side. So here we go, right side. Staying organized through the midline. Now our eyes are still open. We can watch the other side that's staying along that midline. If you find that you're gripping and holding to make this happen, see if you can soften a little bit. It's kind of like a little, like a sandbag. One more to the other side. And returning. Now, just hug your knees in. And you can lift your head and your shoulders, just a nice little ball here. And then we're going to lengthen the legs out and the arms overhead. So everything is connecting to the midline. I'm actually keeping my fingers interlaced. Soft front body, let the back body be wide. And then bring everything into the middle, following that midline. So understanding where our midline is extremely organizing and grounding for our nervous system. Let's do one more of these. And it is also going to help us be quite coordinated and integrated when we do more complex movement patterns. And let's come on in. Now, we're going to keep the legs up. We're going to keep them together. We're going to do the same thing, but now our legs are up in the air. So we could do all of the separate components, but let's go ahead and try the whole right side. And can you keep your midline organized and this side organized to the midline? So again, we have to pay attention to what we would call in developmental movement tone. If I get really rigid and I try to hold this side, I'm not actually going to get this nice openness, this nice body half that's happening. I'll actually end up getting a lot of restriction through this whole inner thigh. Let's do one more to the left. So we have to go slow enough that we can follow what's happening. How'd you do? Now, let's go ahead and take this whole thing over. And now in our rolling body halves, this side comes up. And it's this side opening. This information, this movement information, is traveling through my midlines, traveling through my center, communicating to the other side to come on. Now, a couple of other advantages, or benefits, I should say, of practicing body halves is that it can, open up your hips. So if you're looking for some mobility in your hips, it's very helpful. I would say the same thing for shoulders. Our limbs grow very separately in their own little limb buds. So this is giving you an opportunity to feel how they differentiate. It's very fun. And then we could go a little bit faster. So we don't want to use momentum. Can you track this through the middle of your body? From one side through to the other. Let's do two more. Nice and easy through the midline. Lots of fluidity. And we finish. And let's come up in a nice developmental way. So we're going to place a hand in front. We can let this arm go long. And you want to find a reach out of your head. It's a little righting reaction. And when the head goes up, your tail is going to reach. And what is that? Midline. So when we understand the midline, we can bring ourselves up. And maybe we go back down. Maybe we do that a few more times. You could midline, and then here's your body halves. Let's come up one more time. And then what if we did homologous, or where we're very organized around the midline, and we could roll down. So be a roll up from Pilates, midline. And then what if we went to the other side? How do we get there? Well, we have to understand our midline, and we have to know we have two body halves. And we need to have those nice and organized. And there's my head again. And when we're organized on our sides, through our center, then we can start to explore our rolling patterns or our, spiraling patterns. And we start to bring ourselves up off of the ground. So I hope you had fun with that. Hope you feel a little bit more grounded and organized in your body halves and midline practice.